What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another Animous tool review. And today we're going to be reviewing the Hobby Mio metallic detail pens. Let's get right to it. Now, some of you have asked me what did I use for detailing when it came to kits and everything else, and what was safe to maybe top coat or anything like that. Then there's a few ways that you can paint details on the kit, right? There's the original way, which is masking everything, which is literally masking hell, where you have to separate everything by masking tape, and then just airbrush everything in. The second option that you have is also to use your brush. You can actually use your brush to paint in details, but you have to make sure you use fine tip brushes, thin to paint correctly. You have to make sure you get that perfect level there, so that way you have the perfect coverage. Some paints settle better than others, so sometimes, depending on what kits I am painting, I sometimes resort to using markers, but it will have to be water-based markers, which is what these are. I don't use Gundam markers a lot to detail, mainly because the big portion of details is based on like maybe inner frames or anything like that. And if it's something that I can airbrush, I will. But if it's like a small, very, very small detail that I could just hit up with a marker and then move on, or maybe brush it in, then I would do so instead. Mainly because I just don't want to have to mask the part to hell and then, run into the risk of sometimes the tape isn't just lined up correctly and then you got that extra spread there. So the biggest thing is that for these markers, these are actually water-based markers. So these right here are made by Hobby Mio. So I got most of these from our friends at Robot Kai. So all of these are metallic colors. Now the reason why I got the metallic colors is to paint metallic details on parts or inner frames, depending on what kind of kit I'm building. I had someone ask me about whether or not these can be used with an airbrush marker. I haven't tried it yet. However, probably in the future, I'll probably give it a go just to answer that person's question and then go from there. Right. So these are brush tip markers, as you can see right here. So the biggest thing with these is that you have to make sure that these wash off. Right. So they're not like the Gundam markers where you would just if you let it dry, then it won't come off. Even if you let these dry, they will come off. So you have to make sure that you let it cure a certain amount of time before you use a top coat on it, right? So, and that is the biggest thing with this one, right? With all of these, actually, because they're all metallic. So Animous, how does it look when you paint some detailed parts? Where I do have some little pieces right here that we're gonna try it out. This is just gonna be a very short review. And what I think, do I think that these markers are reliable to paint details and then throw a top coat on it? Yes, 100%. I've used these markers to paint small kits, big kits, paint detail into these kits, and I can definitely say that I haven't had any issues with them yet. Best example I can give you is that I did post this one on social media not too long ago, and some of you asked me a bunch of questions about it. This is a no grade 1/100 Exia that I made here for the channel. So I'm making a review on this kit very soon. So somebody told me that no grade kit, there's no way you can make a no grade kit look nice, and then I just say, well, I figured that before we didn't have the type of detail that Master Grade had, so you had to put in the work to make a kit look really good. So that's what I did with this one. And as you can see, under the glass, the clear part right here, I went ahead and painted that with the green marker from Hobby Mio, right? And I did that through all the GN drives and the cameras for the kit itself. So biggest thing is that whenever you are painting with these markers, you have to make sure, some people say, well, they're going to be messy because you can't really just get in there. Well, here's the thing. If you let these dry after you paint a part, even if you had overspread, like it spread it out, or you paint it outside the lines, as one might say, you can grab a toothpick. And then just go ahead and gently rub, you gently rub the part, that area where it had like the little spread, and it'll just peel off. without issues. And then all you have to do then is top coat it, and then you're ready to go. Detailed kit, that's it. So I'm gonna give you a first example. So the first example, we're gonna go ahead and use the silver here. Now for silver, the only thing about silver is that if you're trying to get that glossy look, then it's gonna be a little weird. So you might, if you're looking for that like that chrome finish, you might not get what you want. For example, let's go ahead and paint the blade here. So the biggest thing with these is that you want to make sure that you get even strokes. Had a little bit of overspread there, which was fine. I'll just clean it off. All right. That's it. So that's how it would look. And that's just one. That's just giving it like one hand. So usually I would just let it dry, and then do like a second coat with the marker just to give it that extra finish there, and then you can use whatever top coat. Now this is where it gets good, right? So for those of you that are saying like, oh well, you know, it spreads and you're gonna have to a lot of cleanup and stuff. Well, the reality is you don't really have that much to clean, because when you think about it, all you have to do is run the marker, run the little toothpick through the line. See? It looks good. I mean, I was very skeptical at first when somebody first recommended these to me, but I have to say that the biggest thing about this is that, one, they are water based, so you don't have any toxic smells or anything coming out of the markers. You have great coverage, especially, and this is just one hand. If you wanted to do like a second hand and then go ahead and, you know, maybe top coat it with a gloss coat afterwards or something of the sort, then you can do so as well, right? And then cleanup is super easy. As you just saw, I just used the toothpick and I cleaned the excess off. Still got a little bit on this corner right here. I'll just go ahead and grab that real quick. There you go. Perfect. See? And now you got that blade there. I usually recommend doing two coatings, and then go from there, right? So this is very cool. I remember the first time I got these markers, I was very skeptical. Like I said, you know, they were water based. You know, I've had terrible experience with Gundam markers using top coat and painting details into things. And I was looking for an alternative that I could use on my, you know, because I paint with lacquer-based paint, and then I didn't want to try to paint in a detail and then have to use thinner to take it out, and then the Gundam marker would just mess it all up. This right here, perfect. Like, even if I make a mistake, I can just wipe it off with my fingers or a wet swab, and then it'll just come right off, and then you can just redo it. Never had any issues. Just let it dry very well, or let it cure very well, and then paint from there. So let's go ahead and for example, I'm gonna go ahead and use the gold one. All right. Go. See if we can get it bigger. There you go. And same as the silver, you know, I usually do two hands, right? I give it two coatings, let it dry very well, then I give it the second coating, and then from there I choose whatever top coat I want to use on it, right? Whether it be a matte coat, flat coat, semi-gloss, or gloss. They all take very well, and that doesn't fade. It doesn't fade. That is the biggest concern with everyone that's painting with markers like these, whether or not the shine is going to fade. It does not fade if you use the right gloss. If you like to use matte, then the good thing is that when you spray the matte, it just looks like a flat metallic finish. It doesn't really look all murky like some other clears do. So that is great. That is great. That is awesome. Let's use another color then here. So I don't think I've used this red one yet. I believe this is supposed to be like metallic red. But let's go ahead and let's paint the other side of this blade here. Let's see, it's like a metallic red, but it's a little too wet for comfort. See, I just touched this side by mistake and it didn't even come on. I didn't even phase it. All right, so this one is not good. Doesn't seem like it's gonna work. Let's see. Probably because it's a dark color, so you're not gonna be able to notice it that very well. Let's go ahead and move on to another color. Let's go with this one. So same thing as the silver. If you look at the silver on this side, if you look at the pink on this side, even if you have that little excess and you paint outside the line, like I said, all you need is a like a toothpick or something that you can use, and then you just run it through the line. Still got a little bit of excess there where I can just wipe it down. So this is another option that I use is that for example, I'll go ahead and grab a swab, put a little bit of lighter fluid in it, dab it a little bit against a cloth, and I'll go ahead and clean the excess. There you have it. Still a little bit more to clean, but you get the idea. Someone also asked me about trying to use these markers for like Warhammer or minis or anything like that, like to paint details. Yes, the answer is yes, you can use it. Now here's the only problem that I encountered, that I can see you encountering, is that this tip is not as fine as some people think to be able to use it on minis. However, you can press your brush. If you're trying to go for the brush look, you can press your brush against this and then grab the paint to paint your minis. Now cost. So when they first came out, I believe they were like around $3 or so each marker. I'm not sure how much they're going for right now, but I know that RoboKai just had some in stock. These do come in all series of colors. They don't just come in these metallic colors. They come in all sorts of colors for you to buy. And that's pretty much it. It's nothing too fancy. It's just a water-based marker. They work great for painting details. I've been using them without any issues. As you can see here, you just let that dry. They dry pretty quickly too, and all you got to do is do a second hand and then keep going from there. Hit it with the gloss that you like, and then voila, you got some details painted, right? So a little bit of cleanup, I just got to do a little bit of cleanup, and you can't really see the bronze there because the parts are super small, but I'm telling you right now that those definitely look like rounds that have been painted. So if you're into details like that, then these might be the markers for you, right? So like I mentioned before, this is going to be just a short video of review for these tools. I am super satisfied with these markers for detail painting. So if you want to grab some yourself, I know that RoboKai has some, and they have them all in all sorts of places online. So if you are looking for an easy way to paint details that does not include a lot of prepping and doing everything like that, this is a good shortcut. It's definitely a good shortcut for you. These markers are a good shortcut. right? Because they're water-based and they're easy to work with, right? So, and that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a question in the comments, and I'll be happy to help you. You'll be seeing some examples of these as well on my Facebook page and on Instagram, so keep a lookout for those in case you do have any questions. Feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.